On today's show, the guys are talking about Google integration in the classroom. We've got the East Initiative update, information about the Conrad Challenge, all of that and more. Up next on EduTechGuys.
EduTechGuys Radio, radio.edutechguys.com.
The opinions expressed on this site and its programs are those of participants and not intended to and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any specific educational entity, sponsor, company, state, or government agency.
Hello and welcome to EduTechGuys. I'm David Henderson.
Hey, and I'm Jeff Madlock.
Welcome to the show. And we got some really cool stuff we're going to talk about today. Jeff and I were actually talking off mic. I was going to say off camera, off mic, about a kind of a project you sort of stumbled into. Not really a project, but helping some students with some stuff. Yeah. And then we had talked earlier about I'm teaching a college class now, and so we were talking about some of the things that I'm having my students do in the college class, and we got to realizing that by talking to other people about the stuff we're doing, evidently, I mean, there's a lot of folks out there who just they're not aware of the things you can do.
That's exactly right. Hey, but first, before we jump into that with both feet and up to our necks, let's take a look at the web. And you can too, and you can find us out there on the web. Just go to Google, type in EduTechGuys, and heck, you're going to find us out there. You know what? Just go to Twitter, put in .com/EduTechGuys, and you'll find us there. Reach out to us. Let us know what you're thinking about. Let us know how your school year is going. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about or find someone to talk about for you. Yeah, be great to do that. But David was right. I had a neat run in a previous life. I was a band director, and I was working in one of our campus's libraries, and some high school students had a period where it was a study period, and they were working on some beats and stuff, and I said, hey, let me show you some stuff. And so I showed them Soundtrap. Yeah. And they were like, oh my gosh. And it was funny, the media specialist was like, this is the quietest they've been in 4 weeks, So I was like, well, they've got headphones on now they're making music, they're doing something constructive. And it made me think, and that same media specialist said, I had to go show a teacher how to do this in Google Docs. And we've been a Google school for a long time.
Right.
But I think what we forget, and what you learned when you tell your story, possibly a little short snippet here in a bit, is that I think we're learning that just because that's what happens, just because you drive a car, doesn't mean you know how to change the oil on it.
Sure.
Doesn't mean that you know how to fully operate that car to the best of its operation. You just know to get in and turn the key and drive from one place to the other. That you're supposed to rotate the tires every 3,000 to 6,000 miles, or you're supposed to get the oil change. Things like that make the whole experience better,
right?
And make you grow and find better ways to use that task, that service, that product, that thing. And I think that's where we are. I think we've gotten caught up into a lot of new. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think we're forgetting the basics, and we're forgetting that the true learning is, and it made me think of it last night. This was on my brain last night, and I was thinking, so people will say, well, we're teaching kids how to use Google Docs, and we're teaching them how to do this. I know, but in what capacity?
Right.
In what scene? What scenario? What, how are you teaching them? Because, we all played in the woods, and we didn't have toy guns, and we didn't have some things. So a stick became this, or, a pile of brush became your clubhouse, and, that piece of bark with some numbers scribbled on it was your walkie-talkie.
Right.
And I know that sounds a little trivial, but it's the same thing as, oh, I learned how to do this with Google Docs, which it's not designed for, but I did it with it anyway. And I believe that is the true essence of learning and exploration and entrepreneurship that we're looking for our kids to do right now, is to take those things and take them to the next level.
Well, exactly. And, when you talk about getting back to the basics, it's sometimes it's not even the taking, Google Docs or a Google form and adding something to it and making it do something that it wasn't designed to initially. Sometimes it is just really bringing it all the way back to the basics and saying, hey, if you are recording beats, and oh, by the way, here's an app, and you can record straight into the app, and then you can save that out to your Google Drive, and then from your Google Drive, you can turn around and import that into Soundtrap. That's not necessarily some enhanced feature per se, but it's a series of steps, and it's a series of connections that, in your particular case, those students hadn't made, and then, like you said, you talk to the media specialists, you talk to other teachers, they hadn't made those connections. And that's one of the things that, you mentioned that I'm one of the things that I ran into, or that I have run into with teaching students in my college class, is that many of the students are aware of Google Docs. They know what Google Docs is, but they don't necessarily know Google Drive, which was kind of a weird disconnect for me, because I'm like, well, it's part, Docs is a part of Drive. How do you not know? Well, because they only knew to go to Docs. And so, in fact, when I first started using Google Docs in my class, one of the students said, well, so if this is like Word, is there like an Excel for this? I was like, yes, as a matter of fact, and a presentation program and a forms. So one of the things that we've been doing as I've been working with the students is I'm showing them different things they can do with Google Docs. So like one of the very first things that we did was, once they got done doing their in-class writing assignment in Google Docs, was I had them share their document with me. And that was completely foreign to them, because most of them grew up in the standalone application environment where you had to save it to a flash drive or save it somewhere else, and then one person could open it, or if you shared it with 10 people, they all emailed it back to you, and now you have to figure out which versions how crazy is that? And I'm like, no, let's all share this together and we can all work on the same document. And it was just like, holy cow, do you know what I could be doing with this? Yes.
And isn't it amazing to see that happen? And I think my other favorite part that happens now is when I go back into that library in the next week or two, if I make it around, then now that I know what time those guys are there, I'll probably try to make an appointment to get by there at that time. What they're going to show me that I didn't know.
Right.
And,
yes.
And they're going to say, hey, we learned we needed to do this and we didn't know how to do it. So we found out that if you do this, this, and this, step 1 through 3, you can do this now. See, to me, that's the really impressive stuff, because that gets that brain going, and then the kids go, wait, it's what we do all the time. I had to download it with this, then convert it with this, then FTP it with this. Now I know what I'm searching. Let me see if there's a product or a service out there that does it for me that way.
Yes.
It helps build those extra wrinkles on your brain so that you can figure out what you're doing. And I think that's where Google Docs and Google suite of products comes into play. Hey, we're not pushing it by any means. We're just something we use and we get by. I mean, the fact that I can get to Google Keep now and calendars and tasks right on the right-hand side of my Google Docs, I don't think until you use it to the level that we do, when we're working on multiple contracts or we're working on multiple scripts or whatever we're doing for what we're doing for EduTechGuys, that comes in very handy.
Yes.
Because when we first started out and we were begging guests on the show, it was different. Now that we have a lot of guests, and keeping up with those people and making sure our conversations and communication with those people let them know how important they are to us in the show.
Yes.
If it wasn't for Google and what we've used there, then, I don't know what we'd have done. We wouldn't have been able to handle this. But I do believe that we really have to take a look at helping teachers, helping educators build some better integration of basic, Google Docs usage if you're a Google school. And, maybe next week we'll have a Microsoft 365 show about the same thing.
Right.
Same thing.
Right. Yeah. It could be. Again, like Jeff said, we're not trying to tout a particular platform, only that this is the platform we happen to have a lot of experience in.
Well, and I'll tell you, I've been doing this a long time.
Yeah.
Claris works. Word Perfect.
Yeah.
WordStar.
Yeah.
On a DOS machine. Wrote a paper that way. Power went out. Electrical storm. Lost everything. 5.5 disk floppy. Wouldn't hold it off. So, I've been doing this a long time. And I can tell you, I've been through the whole gamut. We've both been Microsoft men. We've both been Apple men. We've both been Linux men. We've done everything that's out there. Apple IIe, you name it, Amigas, you name it, we've touched it. And I can tell you from my experience, just speaking for me, Google has thought it through. And no, it's not perfect. But I can tell you that it makes my job very easy. Just like you were talking with your students. I think that we are at this education and this technology point of life where we can make their lives better. So many kids are sitting in college, working jobs to pay for college.
Right.
And they're going, I've got to get a new MacBook Pro and it's going to cost me X amount of dollars. XXXX.XX amount of dollars. When you can say, listen, you're doing these things and 98.6% of those things can be done on this XXX.00
Right.
equipment that is actually $200 or less.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and the first X in that number is a 1 or a very low 2 when you
At
know.
the tops, 3.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
3XX and some change. So, to me, that changes a student's quality of life.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they're not trying to make that payment on expensive stuff, but they're still getting the same bang out of the buck for it. And there's the other thing, and this is crazy, but I think of this all the time. You know, love Macs. We use them for our studio stuff, and
Sure.
we love an Apple, a great product. Love a Windows machine. The new services, crazy cool. If I wasn't already embedded on something else, I'd probably move. But the interesting part is that after 3 to 4 hours, I got to find a plug.
Right.
With a Chromebook, I mean, you're going to get 7 to 11 hours or more.
Well,
And 7's on the low end if you're using it like just, not even shutting the thing off or closing the lid.
well,
on it.
and that's what I was just going to say. We've got Chromebooks here at the Education Service Center where I work, and we just had 2 days of training. They brought in a speaker, and he was here presenting. And, of course, there were several attendees who didn't bring equipment with them, and it turned out, oh, yeah, by the way, you need a device. So we hand them Chromebooks, and they use them all day long. We turn them in, plug them in overnight. They bring them back out the next day, boom. And I would venture, now I didn't stop to take a look, but I would venture that depending on what they were doing with those Chromebooks, there's a good chance we might not even needed to have charged the Chromebook at all.
Right.
That the charge it had would have carried it fine for the next day. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, and I hate to admit this, but how many times I've grabbed a Chromebook to take somewhere or whatever, and I've forgotten about it. It's been sitting in my car or whatever, and it's been a good couple of weeks, and I open it up, and it still has 25% battery, and I'm like, dang, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and that's, to me, that's what we're looking at in education now, is that this is about making this as seamless as going from a pencil to a pen.
Yeah.
Making this as seamless as starting to use calculators. That the technology does not need to get in the way, and it does not need to cost them an arm and a leg. I remember when we were all trying to buy TI calculators, 20 years ago, and those things are expensive. They're still expensive.
Yeah.
And and that's expensive to do as a school, and that's expensive to do as an individual. And in this day, in this economy, with everything else parents are paying for,
right,
then it's just one more thing. And I believe that makes a big, huge difference. And you're winning out with a Google product that already has this suite of things that are given away for free.
Yeah.
I mean, the free storage, the free applications. And I mean, take a look like what we're doing right now. We could be doing on a Chromebook with Soundtrap, because we're recording directly into Soundtrap right now as our recorder. It's web-based. I mean, these are USB microphones, so if we wanted to plug them into the USB port on a Chromebook and set it up, we're talking through a Chromebook.
Exactly.
Pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, but I really believe that, and that's something I think we're going to start really looking into, is getting out some better ideas on how to use. Are you using Google products this way in the classroom? Are you using docs and spreadsheets and presentation and Google Drive and Google Keep and all the stuff that exists out there, the Chrome extensions that exist? In fact, for us, we use an appointment-based software that's web-based, and they just released yesterday a new Chrome extension that's going to change the way we do things. So, pretty amazing stuff.
Well, and like you just alluded to, we are going to start generating some more content for you guys that is really, that kind of hones in on some of the things we're talking about. So, talking about working with these students today and what Jeff did in order to help those students, we're going to write that out so that if you run into that situation, or if you have that situation already, or you're even contemplating, how do I get my band students to where they're going to, where they could collaborate on putting music together but working at individual devices. Yeah,
from anywhere.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they don't have to be in the same room.
You're collaborating. Listen.
Yeah. Stop.
Good one.
So, so those are the kinds of articles that we're going to start kicking out, and we'll have those available soon, and probably to those folks that are interested in seeing some of the bonus content, getting some of that extra type of information that'll be made available to those folks who want to take part in that.
Yeah, makes it easier on us to produce it.
Yeah,
I
you
tell
want
you
to be a member of the EduTechGuys Society.
the team. You get
The
a
team.
badge. Yeah.
A
So
badge.
a badge. It's a badge of honor. So yeah, listen. If you've got some great ideas, if you have some questions, some ideas, some problems, send them to us. contact@edutechguys.com, or just go on Twitter and drop us a direct message. We'll see it. We'd love to find out what you're running into in the classroom, or maybe there's just a little small speed bump you need to get over, or that we can help smooth out for you that you're already jumping over, but maybe there's another idea. David and I have been doing this a long time, and we talk to a lot of really cool people who do this, at a different level than even we do it at. So
Right.
we can always find an answer for you.
Aerospace and aviation, cyber technology and security, health and nutrition. Those are just 3 of the categories available to students who are taking part in the Conrad Challenge for the 2018-2019 program. The Conrad Challenge is inspired by the rich legacy of Apollo 12 astronaut Pete Conrad. Student teams develop commercially viable solutions to the world's most complex problems. They learn to be entrepreneurial problem solvers, addressing challenging social, scientific, and societal issues through ingenuity and the building of effective business plans. Students who participate in the challenge maintain their own intellectual property, and some of those students go on to launch businesses to further develop their own inventions. The Conrad Challenge. Registration is open now through Friday, October 19th, 2018. Teams of 2 to 5 students, ages 13 to 18, are invited to register. Each team must have a coach who can be an educator, a parent, or an adult from an after-school program. Head over to www.conradchallenge.org by October 19th for more information and to sign up your teams. Conrad Challenge. Collaborate, educate, innovate.
Hi there, I'm Jerry Prince with EAST with this week's EAST Update. Listeners of this report know that EAST is an experience-based educational program. Experience-based education gives learning opportunities to excel in what students are good at doing, but at the same time allows them to work on their weaknesses. We recently were able to get a parent's perspective of the impact this environment can have on students. Susan Bryant is the parent of Michael, a North Little Rock Middle School student. The EAST program there has started and greatly expanded a farm, including a wide range of learning experiences, from working with produce to caring for live animals. Mom talks about the impact these experiences have opened for her son.
EAST opened opportunities for him to do things in his strength areas, which are very nonverbal. Building, farming, growing plants. It gave him time in the school day that he could look forward to, that wasn't just reading, writing, and math, which is very important. But for him, school was very painful, and he's always had 2 to 3 hours of tutoring after school for 5-6 years. So for him, when he wanted to stay after school to work at EAST or go early in the morning, it was like amazing because he could spend time doing things that were not his weak areas.
Experience-based learning places students in situations and problems in which there is no immediate answer. She talks about visible changes of her son that are a direct result of dealing with these challenges.
If we can get them in anything, a sport, project like EAST, if they can do that, then it makes everything better. The discipline that they learn in EAST helps with the mental discipline to get through the other hard things. So they want to get the mindset of, I can do hard things. Michael can work from sun up to sundown, building and engaging and feeding chickens. And when he gets to math, it's hard too, but you're already good at doing hard.
What is the outcome of being placed into difficult situations and committing to do whatever it takes to complete them? One word.
I would have to say confidence, even confidence in academic classes. He actually, he knows he can. He can. Some things will be harder, But when you spend time in an area of strength, it does wonders for the whole brain because it helps you work through your weaknesses.
Special thanks this week to Michael for letting us visit with his mom, Susan, about what she has seen in him after his involvement with the North Little Rock Middle School farm in East. And also special thanks to this week's composer, Cole from Perryville High School. If you'd like to know more about East, you can find us at eastinitiative.org or search for East Initiative on social media. For the East Update, I'm Jerry Prince.
Hey, thank you so much to Jerry Prince and the folks at East Initiative Update sharing their insights and knowledge about experience-based education for students.
Yeah, and that, right before that, the Conrad Challenge.
Yeah.
Really cool stuff. They go hand in hand. It's something East has been doing for some time now.
Oh, yeah.
And, the Conrad Challenge is taking that to the next level and rewarding students for it and those folks. So check it out at conradchallenge.org. You could get your team in there, get your students in there.
Yeah.
Really pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, and don't forget, as always, get in touch with us. We'd like to know what you're doing in the classroom, what you're doing with docs. If you need any help, you can contact us at contact@edutechguys.com. And as always, you can catch us on Twitter, our social media. Just look for us. Let us know how you're doing. Hey, I'm Jeff Madlock.
I'm David Henderson.
We'll catch you next time.
You've been listening to EduTechGuys Radio, radio.edutechguys.com.
The opinions expressed on the site and its programs of those of participants are not intended to and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any specific educational entity, sponsor, company, state, or government agency.